Welcome to the Early Wedge Tuesday's Best Bet Show. I'm your host, Eric Cohen. Lots to talk about this week, even though it is the Cognizant Classic, which has probably the weakest field we've seen in quite a while. But we'll get to that. We have Patrick McDonald. We have Jason Sobel. We have Sia Nejad. Sia, I'm actually going to start with you because this is a really cool one. On the SportsLine Discord, there was a user, Beach Bum, and I don't remember what his numbers were after that won over 100K in DFS thanks to picks that you gave out.
Well, to be honest with you, it sounded like it was picks that I gave out, but it truly wasn't. He was just saying, he was acknowledging me because he's just a loyal Early Wedge follower. He just religiously watches this show, watches the morning show. And I honestly think it was just him taking the knowledge that he's learned, particularly in 2026, and putting a team together. Some of those were my guys for sure, but some of them weren't necessarily my guys from last week. And long story short, he didn't win over 100,000. He won 100,000 flat. Second place in the big $25 contest. I don't think he maxed it out. I think he put maybe one or two lineups in. And here's the greatest part. It's not just that we had one of our SportsLine users win. I mean, that's really cool. Somebody that watches the show win. The greatest part is that lineup didn't even have Jacob Bridgman. It was that good. He basically had everybody else in the top 5, top 6. And I love to see that because he literally, if you're in our SportsLine Discord, he basically said, you just changed my life. I mean, he was talking to all of us, really. $100,000 will change somebody's life. It was really cool.
That's a very cool story. Patrick, I don't know if tonight is going to change your life, but you are not at home where you usually are. Where are you today?
Anytime you get to go to the SoFi Center, EC, it's a life-changing experience. I feel like one of those churchgoers who only shows up during Lent right now, but I'm excited. I'm going to see the world-famous New York Golf Club face off against the equally world-famous Boston Common Golf Club. So I'm ready to roll. As I told you guys in the pre-show, going to be 11 p.m. and I'm going to be asking these guys the hardest hitting questions you can imagine. So if you got anything for Xander, for Ricky, for Adam Scott, let me know. I'm sure they'll love to hear it at that time.
Sobel, go ahead.
I do. I have a question for Patrick to pass along to those guys. Okay. Hey guys, not sure if you were aware, but there's actually a PGA Tour event. It's like right over there.
Yeah,
it's like 5 minutes down the road. You guys are like invited if you'd like to play. How come you're not going to just like drive over there and go play that?
I heard. I was at a little shindig before this that one of my colleagues in golf media ran into Adam Scott at PGA National this morning. He was getting free breakfast, I guess, at the resort.
There you go.
Let's put it this way. When you have a tournament where Shane Lowry is the favorite, a guy that probably hasn't won since Patrick was in middle school, probably, a solo tournament in the U.S. Let me clarify. Has not won a solo tournament in the U.S. since Patrick was middle school, elementary school, something. It's been that long. You can't. He's your favorite at 16-1. Can't bet it. Sobel, you were on the call last night on radio for TGL. Do you have a pick? We like picks on the show. If you're watching live, the New York Golf Club, Boston Common, who you got?
Well, first of all, I assume all you guys were listening last night. We had a great show. I think we maxed out at something like 17.3 million unique listeners. I think on the broadcast last night. It was just we're killing it, and everyone just tuned in. It was really fun. And I got to pick. I'm gonna go with New York, being a New York native myself, and it's too bad that Patrick doesn't get to experience both Cameron Young and Matt Fitzpatrick in the same lineup together, just dynamic when they're a part of the same team. But you get one of those guys tonight, that should be good enough.
I got I like New York. They're minus 110 over Boston. I'm riding with Sobel.
Yeah.
And there you go. It pays to watch live, Sia.
I've never lost a TGL bet either. So
have you ever made one?
Yeah, I was gonna say
double digits amount.
Really?
Not proud. Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When the first cut was still alive, that was my best bet like every week.
Wait, are you serious? You've never lost?
Never lost. I'm 11-0. So this is a big one.
I have to bet this now.
Yeah.
Can I bet? I don't even know if I can bet that.
See, if you can't, just call me after the show. I'll take care of you there. New York is the play. Patrick McDonald putting his undefeated streak on the line in TGL. Sia, let's get to storylines here. This is a really interesting one. There was some weird things that were happening in the market with a lot of withdrawals in this event, and some people lost their accounts and cashed in big on it. Can you kind of explain what happened?
Well, the cashing in part was wild because I had a chance. So here's the thing. Knowing that some people were going to withdraw from this event, I made a lot of bets Sunday night. I tweeted something out Sunday night. I put it in the SportsLine Discord who I liked. I mentioned Ryan Gerard at 27-1, who I took, Hao Tong Lee at 51, who I took. And part of the reason I took those numbers pretty early, along with a couple of other golfers that I sprinkled, was because, I had heard, and it makes sense because of a schedule, all the scheduling stuff, the signature events and the tournaments coming up, that guys like Jacob Bridgman might not play in this tournament. Ben Griffin, Adam Scott, I thought was going to play. But the point is, in situations like this with the schedule, you can anticipate some of these guys dropping on, let's say, a Monday morning. And if that happens, you want to get your bets in before that happens. I mean, typically you don't necessarily want to fire away on all your bets on a Sunday night or Monday morning. But in this case, all the odds dropped because all the top guys decided not to play this tournament because they really didn't have to in their mind. So these are like scheduling situations that you definitely want to keep your eye on. As far as the people who cashed out, I will tell you, Thorb, who I think most people know, called me when there was about a 15-minute stretch where DraftKings was offering cash outs that were completely ridiculous. And I had about $10,000 to gain from that. And I was debating it as I'm on the phone with Thorb. I decided not to press the cash out option. Other people did. Some people cashed for like $20K on like $5 bets. It was just the craziest glitch error ever. Now, here's the thing. You would think you wouldn't be able to take that money, withdraw it and all that. Well, some people were able to, and they took it out of their DK account. It's in their bank account now. It's a crazy situation. It lasted for about 15 minutes. I've got a show at 8 o'clock where we're going to talk about that for about 45 minutes. So there's just too much to throw at you now. But it was the craziest sports betting situation I've ever been a part of or seen in my entire life.
Now, Sia, explain.
Oh, yeah.
The main reason you didn't cash out was because...
Well, I thought my account was going to be frozen immediately.
It would have been, yes.
Well, here's the thing, though. Somebody who I know very well did have, he withdrew the money, took it out of his account. It's in his bank account, had his account frozen. Now, this wasn't the $20,000 stuff. This was like $3,000. His account was suspended, as far as I know, up to date for like 3 hours and then just randomly reinstated. Really? Now, again, that's just one situation. Maybe he got lucky. But certainly, and for the record, we work with sports books. The last thing I wanted was to have my name potentially, and I'm a lawyer, I've got that line of thinking, like I didn't want my name attached to somebody basically like, the perception is you just took from the books. So I didn't want to be I wish I had screenshotted the cash outs though, because I had a lot of bets down already and they were ridiculous. Each one was like $2,000 to $3,000.
Good for you though. Good for you for holding firm and keeping your account in good standing. So I give you props for that. Go ahead, Sobel.
See, correct me if I'm wrong. So we don't have DraftKings in my state, so I wasn't that wasn't available to me anyway. But from what I saw, it seemed like with the withdrawals, Griffin and Bridgman and Scott all within an hour of each other late yesterday morning, it looked like they just flipped all the odds for a minute to minus 10,000.
That's exactly what happened.
Everything was 1 to 100. Basically, that's $100 to win $1. Which I understand for like, hey, we just got to like turn it off for a minute so that we can't give a bet that'll make sense for the people out there. But when you do that, it's going to offer out the cash outs based on a minus 10,000 price. Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. So again, 100 to 1 on. So if you had like a 300 to 1 shot and you had $5 on it, guess what? That was like a $22,000 payout. And people had that. There are screenshots of it. Now, those people might have had a harder time withdrawing the money because of the amount of money. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, what they should have done is they should have just taken the odds down and then reinstated it. Or if they're going to do the minus 10,000 thing, make sure the cash out option isn't available.
Somebody got fired. Somebody got fired.
100%. Unfortunately.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
No, that ain't unfortunate. We beat the book. That's how you beat the book.
That is how you beat the book.
I'll tell you what's another good way of beating the book this week, Patrick, is picking the winner at this place. But what happened to
$50,000 this week?
Well, I mean, I guess that's fair. But what happened to this field? What a disaster!
I mean, where it is on the schedule obviously doesn't help. And then, I mean, a lot of players would kind of whine about how difficult it was back in the day, and so lo and behold, the PGA Tour made it much easier last year. You look, PGA Splits had this one, like the round average last year was around 2 under from 06 to 2023. 11 golfers shot minus 10 or better. Last year, 38 of them did. So the bear trap doesn't have the bite anymore. They obviously changed number 10 to a par 5, the overseed. as well. I guess the rough's up this year, so maybe that could help too. But it's if I'm working the Cognizant Classic or Classic in Palm Beaches, whatever it's called these days. We were talking about it before. It's kind of a tough scene where you had like 4 out of the top 5 players in the world yesterday at the SoFi Center. And you're going to have a lot of good players there tonight too, and they're playing simulator golf instead of playing in a real golf tournament. That's a tough pill to swallow. So I don't really know what they got to do. They got to change something though, because the field and what they did to the course kind of stripped it of the identity, I thought.
So my storyline is there's a reason the PGA Tour is changing up its schedule next year because of exactly what you said. I mean, this is kind of bad. Not kind of. It is bad. When Shane Lowry is when Adam Scott was atop the odds board yesterday morning before all the shenanigans went down, and he was replaced by Shane Lowry, guys that simply don't win. I mean, Scott gave it a great run and won a couple of bets for me on the show last week. But he's not winning, and nor is Shane Lowry. They're not winning. And you're putting them atop the odds board. It's embarrassing. But Sobel, you have a secret here. Now, Patrick, we started out last year on this show, and it was the first episode of 2025, and Patrick hit Joe Highsmith at like 150 to 1. Do tell me.
250.
So, first of all, based on what you were saying there, Brian Rolapp, the new PGA Tour CEO, has talked about contracting the schedule. And he's talked about essentially creating a smaller schedule where all the best players play on a regular basis. We might not see these types of events very much in the future. So we'll see if this continues. For now, let's use it to our advantage because we've had lots of underdogs, lots of long shots win here over the last 7 years. The average winner was 95 to 1 pre-tournament. I think that's 3 or 4 that were in the triple digits. And so it's a good place to go find a big number somewhere and play a few guys that you like. I'm in favor this week of quantity over quality. Usually you like quality, say, okay, there's 2 guys that are shorter than 30 to 1. I like them. I'm going to play them in the outright market this week. Go play some big numbers, go fire a bunch of darts and see what happens because there's a good chance it'll hit.
I remember last year I gave this stat on the show that nobody outside the top 10 after round 2 in the previous 15 years at the formerly Honda Classic, now the Cognizant Classic, had come on to win the event. And Joe Highsmith made the cut on the number. And of course, Patrick nailed that at 250 to 1 or 200. It was the best hit I think we've ever had on the show.
I think.
It wasn't that.
With inflation.
It was still very good. Yes, you still would have made a lot of money if you had bet that. Okay, let's get to FRLs, another place where you can make a lot of money. Speaking of 250 to 1, Patrick, you're not cheating the public here. You're trying to give out. If you missed out on DK the other day, Patrick has a way for you to make that up.
Total gut play. Call it a probiotic. Cam Davis, 250 to 1, first round leader. There's nothing to suggest this guy is going to be your first round leader. But I feel like he just randomly does things. He randomly percolates. So I'm hoping it's on Thursday. And look, we missed the cash out window. We're reeling at this point. We're trying to find our way out of the rat race, and Cam Davis at 250 might be the way.
Sobel, your guys are not necessarily as bad as Cam Davis in terms of the odds, but you're taking some shots here.
They're not good either. Look, it's a volatile tournament. I just told you, throw some darts for outright plays this week. For first-round leader plays, it's even more volatile. Just pick some big numbers and see if something hits. Luke Clanton is a guy that had everyone talking about him as an amateur, and when he turned pro, and he was finishing top 5 every week, and that's long gone. I don't know, honestly, what's going on with his game right now. I do like him a lot. I still think that he's going to be good at some point. Back home in a place where he knows as well as anybody in this field, I'll take a shot on him at 100 to 1. And then Austin Smotherman sort of epitomizes what I'm looking for this week. And I wrote about the analogy this week in that it's almost like sitting at a casino where, all right, I'm on a cold table, nothing's hitting. I can get up, walk around for a minute, go to another table, and see if that table gets hotter. In golf betting, you don't really have that option. If the quote-unquote proverbial table is cold, you either sit it out or you just throw your chips on the table and hope it works out. What we have this week, being the start of the Florida swing and getting away from the West Coast, is essentially a chance to turn the table over, change those cards a little bit. I'm looking at players who have been very good tee to green and terrible on the greens because putting on Bermuda is much different than putting on Poe or putting on whatever surface they were putting on in the events that they played in the first 6 weeks of the season. That said, Austin Smotherman, 4 starts this year, 4 times better than the field average tee to green, 4 times much worse than the field average on the greens. And so I'll take him to have a little bit of a spike week this week.
Guys, I hate to break it to you, but Sia has the winner this week, the FRL winner in his list here of 6 golfers. Sia, Keith Mitchell at 41-1 will be your FRL. I did not make a play on it, but congratulations already. We know that Keith Mitchell, one of the better players per ranking in the field. We know he's not going to win, but he has to win something. So congrats.
Thank you. And you just nailed it with Keith Mitchell. I mean, I don't expect him to win. It is interesting though, if you do like him to win, that he just somehow becomes a good putter at the Cognizant Classic at PGA National. 41-1 there. Sorry, I have 6 here. I kind of put these out early and then I forgot a name, and so it turned from 5 to 6. But Nikolai Højgaard is a guy I don't have as an outright, but great experience here. And I am looking for people who A, are in the morning, which all 6 of these are, and B, have had some experience here. Not because I think course experience matters necessarily to win the tournament, but I would just like for you to have navigated this course from a competitive standpoint at least once for a first round leader. So Højgaard, Mitchell, we can talk about them more later. Rico Hoey, team no putt. I mean, if you're looking for a guy to win the tournament, I don't really like Rico Hoey, but for a guy that can be okay with the putter and excellent with the ball striking, kind of like Keith Mitchell, 56-1 there. Doug Gim is sort of my sneaky play this week. The approach play hasn't been quite as good, which is why he's not on people's radar, because if the approach play was typical Doug Gim approach play, he'd be on everybody's radar, because Doug Gim's putter has actually been decent lately, and it's never decent. So 74-1 guy who has very good experience here, like that as a first round leader. Lee Hodges has also very good experience here. Last couple tournaments, he's missed the cut. However, we did see him shine a little bit on the West Coast swing. So if that ball striking is back, he's very comfortable on these greens, it appears, 90-1. And then we've already sung the praises of Austin Smotherman, 110-1.
So, those of you who are out there like me, who are on the dating apps and you're swiping, there's a whole thing about trying to find the best of the worst on the dating apps. I think I found that.
What are your prompts, CC?
In the top, well, you don't want to know.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Like it's kind of like a conversation starter. See, it's like EC's prompt will be like, "I'll buy a round of shots if," and then he'll finish.
Got it.
One day we can go over those on this show.
Okay, deal. Wait, no, that's going to be the punishment. If you don't finish in the top 25, we do an audit of your dating profile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down with that.
And we can do like when celebrities read mean tweets, we can have either you or all of us read like weird conversation starters and whatnot on the show.
I like that. There should be some sort of Patrick Cantlay involvement as well. Like,
we're going to talk about Patrick Cantlay.
I like her enough. I'd even bet Patrick Cantlay to go on another date with her.
Yeah. I'll buy a round of shots if Patrick Cantlay finally wins a golf tournament.
We won't have to worry about that. We'll talk more about Patrick Cantlay later in the show. But I have a top market that is the best of the worst. Find out next after we hear from one of our sponsors.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Actually kind of afraid of what I just agreed to with these three. An audit of my this is why I better meet somebody like fast, so I can get off the dating profile by August, because if not, that's going to be brutal for an early wedge season finale. I'm going to say that. Okay. Let's move on to tournament matchups. Patrick, we'll start with you. The guy so Brooks Koepka is the biggest name in the field by far, but you're going to fade him against Aaron Rai?
Yeah, Rai, his play last week was just so much better than the result, and kind of felt like he was outperforming all week. I'll give him credit. Bigger golf course, wet, not really what his game is probably tailored for. More of this, I think, where you got to put the ball in the fairway. He's one of the more accurate players on the PGA Tour, most accurate players on the PGA Tour, and the iron play is typically quite reliable. So I like him kind of more on this setup. I mean, he was inside the top 10 all week at Riv and then just didn't play great on Sunday, which happens, of course. So I'm going to take him at -125 over Brooks. Brooks is like a guy who's like been very vocal about how he likes to play himself into stretches. And that is a little bit of a concern I have with this PGA Tour schedule of his, is he's going to play this week, he's not going to play next week, then he's going to play the Players again. And so kind of the off and on again nature of it is something to look at with Brooks, but not ready for me to put money on him quite yet. So I'm going to pick on him a little bit with Rye.
Fair enough. Sobel, I found out this weekend that a guy that I knew in high school is the caddy for Mackenzie Hughes. So I was all set just because of that to pick Mackenzie Hughes as top Canadian. Then I saw your play of Hadwin and said, can't go against Sobel. Why do you feel that way?
Jules Trudeau, one of the great caddies on the PGA Tour, has been out there for a long time, was with Graham Dillette for a long time. And
very nice
now
guy.
with Mackenzie Hughes.
Nice
They've been together for a while. Yeah, great dude. So I'm going with Adam Hadwin. Got in the field just a couple days ago after a lot of these guys have withdrawn. And so I do like the fact that he's already been runner-up on the Corn Ferry Tour. He lost his status. Like, this is essentially, like a one and done for Adam Hadwin. He's not going to get a whole lot of shots to go play on the PGA Tour this year. And I like the fact that he's getting a chance. He's got to beat Hughes, who I started out the week with Hughes on my list of players. I started looking just the stats and the history here. He had one runner-up finish, but everything else hasn't been great. He's a guy that I crossed off my list pretty quickly. Adam Svensson, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, we've talked about on this show. AJ Ewert. I've seen some people like Shane Bacon mentioned on the show with Wags and with Patrick that he likes him. But I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin over those guys. And then really like Johnny Kiefer. I like Johnny Kiefer a lot this week. If you want to just go top 10s, top 20s, if you even want to take him outright, he is 9th this season, strokes gained off the tee, 10th strokes gained approach. Again, that's exactly what I'm looking for. The guys who have hit the ball really well over the first month and a half of the season haven't gotten a ton out of it. On BetMGM in the Group D betting, you can get him over Mac Meisner, Chris Kirk, Michael Brennan, and Eric Cole at plus 333.
By the way, the Julian Trudeau, who is Hughes caddy, is only the fourth most famous person from the Chaparral class of 2002. The Bella twins were in that class, as was Lyle Sunline, who was a national championship center on the Texas team. I just want to point that out. It was the year below me in Chaparral.
Who are the Bella twins?
Wrestling? Never heard of them?
No.
They're very famous. Come on, chat. Can you educate? I mean, not that I watch
Chat,
wrestling.
pop off, will you?
Come on, the Bella twins. They're huge.
Do golf people watch wrestling? It's a legitimate question.
Guaranteed.
Yes or no in the chat from
Guaranteed.
everybody. Do you also watch wrestling?
One person. His name's Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah, Jonathan, that's right. He's the guy.
50-50. I bet 50% of our audience watches wrestling. Now, none of us do.
They're a former WWE Diva champion.
Yeah, there you go. Chaparral class of 02. Okay, Sia. Enough of me diverting here. You have a winner for 3 rounds. I don't know if Keith Mitchell will hold on in the 4th round.
For the record, can we just log this in for next show? We talked about caddies just a second ago.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Bridgman and his caddy and the fact that I didn't, for the first time all year, didn't have a bet on Jacob Bridgman at 100-1. Let's just shelve that for another show because I don't want to get too sidetracked. This first matchup is really easy for me to explain.
Okay.
We've already talked about Keith Mitchell. EC, you did. I did. I love his ball striking in general. I also happen to love his putter here. It could absolutely go. What we know about Davis Thompson is he's also a good ball striker, but his putter isn't good here. His putter isn't good anywhere as of late. So I really think minus 125 is a really good number for a guy in Keith Mitchell who has really good history and a history of a good putter here. And otherwise they have very similar profiles. So give me that tournament matchup. This next one is a round 1 3-ball matchup. I'm going to take, you can find this over at DK. I'm going to take Lee Hodges minus 104 over Matt Wallace. I'm not really sure why Matt Wallace is favored here. And Matt Wallace is one of those guys that I do have a bit of a blind spot for. His ball striking has been okay as of late, but I just like Lee Hodges on this course. I like how he flashed a little bit on the West Coast. And again, I don't think he should be a dog here, whether it was a tournament matchup or a round matchup. I have Hodges as a first-round leader. I think he could absolutely pop. I think he's comfortable playing here, minus 104 versus Matt Wallace. And oh, by the way, Matt Wallace doesn't have a great history here either.
See, I spent 20 minutes trying to survey the top Japanese market on FanDuel among 3 players this week. Kanaya, Nakajima, and Hirata. Don't ask me to say first names. I know Takumi because I could see it. Nonetheless, none of these guys have ever played here. Nakajima has been not very good. Hirata has not been very good. Kanaya has not been very good, but he had 2 top 5s in the fall, and it's kind of the best of the worst. So
I like this.
I mean, I was trying to find some angles here, trying to get value Nakajima's like plus 175. Harada's like plus 250. And I was going to give you this whole explanation. Guy, I mean, all three of them could miss the cut. It's just who's going to suck less is kind of the way that I look at it. So
I like it.
So we're going. Takumi Kanaya.
I need a weekly pick out of UEC on the JGT, the Japan Golf Tour, every week on the show.
Ooh.
That was entertaining.
That would be really fun.
Sobel, first of all, do you think I could pronounce any names?
No, that's why I want to hear it.
Frankie Kapan from last year. I mean, come on. Or Yella Miraju.
Before the show is out, speaking of other tournaments, Sobel, you're really good at just like grabbing whether it's the LPGA Tour or the Euro Tour. Before the show is out, are you going to drop a name for the tournament in South Africa? Because I think you should. Okay, carry on.
I've got parlays for each of the Euro Tour event and the LPGA. I wish I was good at PGA Tour. That would actually.
And congrats. You gave out Casey Jarvis last week. I don't know what his number was.
Yeah. You guys do a DP World Tour show. I'm all over it, guys. Whatever you need.
So it's probably that guy waking up at 3 a.m. to watch it too. All right, let's see what we have finishing position wise and see what's coming. All right, Patrick, we're going to start with you with a couple of names, including one of the favorites here, Ryan Girardi.
He's the best player in the field. So I'm taking him for a top 20 at plus 110. I think simple as that. His PGA Tour career kind of started here by Monday qualifying and then having special temporary from a good start, finishing inside the top 10. So good vibes from the area, hitting the ball, awesome. Going to be a welcome sight to return to Bermuda grass and those putting surfaces. So top 20 at plus 110 is, I think, a steal. And then kind of following in the footsteps of Jason here, Adam Hadwin, top 26 to 1. A guy who, as Jason said, lost his status, but finished runner-up there in Panama already on the Korn Ferry Tour. I think he's gonna rise to the moment, I think. And statistically, just a good fit at this golf course. I think he has one good start, one top 10 in his career and a few starts. So let's ride it. Let's ride the Momo.
Sobel, I'll be honest with you. I have never heard of David Ford. I don't know who that is. I would not have known that was a golfer on the PGA Tour. Was he on the Korn Fair? I mean, where did this guy come from?
Okay. All right. You see, here's my response to that. Have you heard of Fernando Mendoza?
Yeah, he's a quarterback. Yeah.
Quarterback, won the national championship. He's going to be number one in the draft, right?
Yeah.
Okay. David Ford was number one in PGA Tour U. It's essentially like being the number one draft pick in golf.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's a way to look at it. I don't know.
Ludwig, Michael Thorbjornsson.
Yeah.
David Ford. Okay, so tell us more about David Ford. Why should we bet him at this?
I would have been making more ladder bets all these weeks if I knew I was getting a purple graphic on here. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That is cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good
So
job.
Shout out to Josh.
Maybe more ladder bets if I'm going to get some purple graphic. David Ford's a guy that look again. Same thing. I'm going to repeat myself this entire show, but same thing. Hitting the ball really well. The putting hasn't been great, but this is a really talented young player. I'm going to take a chance on him while the numbers are still pretty big. Plus 920 for a top 10 this week. And I'm going to back it up with top 20s, top 30s as well. And I think, again, it's one of those where you hit the top 30 at least, and you're pretty good. You hit the top 20. Okay, now get him in the top 10. I can see him contending this week, certainly. And then Sam Ryder. Okay, here's a little trivia question for you. There are two players on the PGA Tour so far this year who are top 10 in both strokes gained approach and strokes gained putting. Patrick, you want to take a shot at it?
Yes, Sam Ryder.
Yes, that was a very good guess. The other one's Jacob Bridgman, who's been pretty good.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Sam Ryder is 2 spots ahead of him in approach and 2 spots ahead of him in putting. I think 3rd in approach and 5th in putting. Granted, very small sample size. He's played 2 events, only 5 measured rounds in those 2 events, but it's been really good, and he tends to pop when he's in Florida. 5 of 5 making the cut at the Cognizant, 2 top 10s, 3 top 25s. Let it ride, Ryder.
I love this, Sobel.
Thank you.
We need more ladders.
I might put an outright on Ryder.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. All right. I saw him hit a hole-in-one at the
Orlando kid. Loves putting on Bermuda.
Hole-in-one at the 16th in 2022 at TPC Scottsdale. So we always like Sam Ryder. I'm good with that. Sia, a guy that I'm playing a lot more aggressively than you are this week is Doug Gim. And this is a pretty good number for a top 40 nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing him aggressively later in the show as well, so stay tuned for that. And also, you'll see David Ford on my card somewhere. Doug Gim, top 40. I mean, we talked about him The ball striking could be better. It's not like classic Doug Gim, but I like his history here. I like his ability to probably get the approach back in play. And I think the putter is a lot more improved. It's a small sample size, but it's definitely improved. So I think top 40 at a plus number is pretty comfy. Max McGreevy, top 30, also at a plus number, plus 112. By the way, these are half unit plays for me like they usually are. McGreevy's been good here. He's got good history here. His tee to green numbers are pretty good. He's a guy in DFS that a lot of people are talking about. I don't think Max McGreevy I don't think he's going to win this tournament, but I do think he's very solid, and I think he's going to be lingering in that top 20, top 30 range the entire 4 days.
You know it. I know it. We all know it that Shane Lowry is not going to win this golf tournament, but he is going to have a good finish because that's what he does at PGA National. He teases you and then doesn't win. So give me a top 5 plus 380 and a top 10 at plus 194. Listen, he has 3 top five finishes here in the last 4 years. The numbers on approach and tee to green are fantastic. I mean, I can give you all these stats about why Lowry's playing great. He's definitely worthy of top 10 and maybe top 5 consideration, especially at these numbers. He's not going to win. Don't put an outright on him at 16-1. If you are, you're throwing away money. Okay. Doug Gim. Sia just talked about him. I'm playing him top 10 at plus 510, top 20 at plus 235. Sia just sang his praises and will probably do so later in the show. So I'll let him do that. And I'm going with Christopher Raitan, top 20, plus 186. Nope. What did I do, Sobel?
Rattan.
Christopher Rattan. I know he's from the DP World Tour. I do know that.
Norway.
Thank you. I got something right. Since last May, he's gained off the tee in 20 of 22 events. He won the Nedbank Golf Challenge. I don't know where that is, but it sounds like a cool place in Europe. Do we know where that is?
It is in Europe. Good job,
okay.
EC.
Thank you.
Moving
where
on.
Where is
Nothing
the Nedbank?
to see here.
Where is the Nedbank Golf Challenge?
South Africa.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, well.
Very close to Europe. Very, very close.
On that note, I'm playing him top 20 at plus 186. I'm not giving you any more rationale. Coming up next, you guys in the chat have alluded to it. There's a lot we need to talk about briefly about Patrick Cantlay. We'll do so after we hear from one of our sponsors.
This is why we do this every March.
Major slam!
It is a basketball party.
It's March! Expect the unexpected!
Your Arizona Wildcats Final Four bets in now, unless you're Sia Nejad, who would never place that bet. All right. As you can see on the do not bet list, there is another name that has been added to the previous 12, and his name is Patrick Cantlay. That was a disgraceful performance by him last week. It was embarrassing. I fully embarrassed myself, and I apologize to you, the viewer and the listener, for touting Patrick Cantlay so hard. I will never do it again on this program. One of these guys wants to pick him, great. I will not bet him, and Sia is going to hold me that there will be no Patrick Cantlay bets ever made by me on this show again.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to tell you last week, but you didn't listen.
No. And Rick, no, I'm not running out of golfers. This list will continue to expand, so get ready. There are more guys. Listen, you want to bet him, you go for it. These are guys I'm not betting, and Patrick Cantlay's one of them. Go ahead, Patrick.
Do you think you're getting out of Florida without another X on this screen?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good here.
Interesting.
Russ Henley's not going to win. He'll get close, but he won't win. Shane Lowry will top 5 this week. That's fine. Is there anybody else I should be worried about? I don't think so. I think
Jordan Spieth is going to win Valspar.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll call. Ooh,
yeah, I know. It's disgusting. So that's why he's going to do it. Yeah. Or Rio Hisasuna.
Jordan's getting there. It's very gradual. Jordan's getting there at some point.
There will be some other names cross off this list, but Justin Rose was embarrassing. Morikawa, I mean, is what it is. You guys see, I know you like Fitzpatrick a lot. He'll probably win at some point. Patrick Cantlay is not winning. He will go on the Adam Scott, Shane Lowry trajectory and not win until I have kids.
I'm betting him at the API.
It's not good. Okay. All right. So we'll get to 08. Yes, I had him in OAD, and it's ugly, and that's why we'll talk about that later in the show. Let's see who we have for outrights this week. We will start with you, Patrick, and Ryan Gerard. A good number at 20-1. That has gone down since at least where I saw it.
Yeah, DraftKings, it was down early, then it like popped back. DraftKings numbers have been like odd, like 1950, I think.
Yeah,
this was.
They're starting to do that.
I don't know what's really going on there. I'm probably a new guy working the numbers, obviously, since what happened earlier in the week, just working out the kinks. So I like Ryan Gerard a lot this week. I already talked about him. I'm seeing a lot of Haotong Lee love in the chat. I am co-signing that as well. Played great on the West Coast outside of the start in Phoenix. That might have just been a little sensory blitzkrieg. We know how Ton can get distracted out there. So I think he'll have tunnel vision this week. Playing great, 47-1. And then Will Zalatoris. Why not? 50-1. Just, someone who's going to be featured groups Thursday, Friday for PGA Tour Live, someone I want to watch, someone I want to see play well. And I was like, okay, 50-1, I can get behind that. He has shown signs of life, albeit not great, but a top 20 at the American Express. He played great in Europe there in South Africa too over the winter. So I think 50-1 for Zalatoris. If it plays hard, that should help him too.
That's a gross number, Patrick, on Zalatoris.
Like gross, like such a good number.
It should be like 200-1. But in this field, I guess he's not. No.
Put him on your list, DC. Put him on. Put him on.
He doesn't deserve being on the list.
Do it.
He hasn't done anything.
Do it.
He's not healthy. All right, Sobel. Brooks Koepka. Now, this is a good number. I know he can't putt. This is a really good number in this field.
It's a really good number, which is the reason he's on there. I'm less confident in him than I was 24 hours ago, and I'll probably be even less confident by the time they tee off on Thursday morning, but I just couldn't get over the number. He's 30-1, a five-time major winner, guy who has more talent than anybody else in this field, and it's probably not even close. You're right, he hasn't putted well. He's going back to South Florida, where he grew up, where he putts better on Bermuda. The ball striking has not been bad in his first two starts of the year. Look, it's one of these that makes sense. I'm not really feeling it, but it makes so much sense that I feel like I have to play it, which is why I am. But again, confidence is waning right now on Brooks. I do like Alex Smalley a lot. It's funny. Last year, speaking with Ryan Gerard, I kind of told him that there was a group of about 4 or 5 guys that had all gone to similar types of schools. We're all about the same age, like that mid-20s, guys who your casual fans probably didn't know a whole lot about, but guys who are all now breaking out and becoming stars in their own right. Gerard, one of them. Jacob Bridgman, one of them. Alex Smalley is another one of these guys that just sort of fits that same profile, that if Gerard can do it, if Bridgman can do it, there's no reason Alex Smalley can't do it as well. So I like him this week in a place where he was top 20 last year. He was top 20 in his most recent start as well. And then speaking of comps, Max McGreevy reminds me a lot of his Oklahoma State teammate, Austin Eckroat, who won this golf tournament 2 years ago. McGreevy's been good so far this year. I think it's a decent number, not a great number on him at 43-1, but I think McGreevy is ripe for going out there and playing well. Again, this is one where you got to take some shots. I admittedly could probably go with some bigger numbers here. I like Nico Echeverria. I like Lee Hodges, we talked about earlier. Both those guys at 60, 65-1 right now. So if you want to go with some bigger numbers, they're out there, but it's a good week to take some chances further down the board.
Sia, you're taking a couple of chances. You talked about Doug Gim earlier. Your thoughts on Kiefer? I know Sobel talked about him a few segments ago.
Yeah, by the way, I'm glad he brought up Lee Hodges. I think there's an even better number than what Jason just said, which we're going to find out on the long shot screen. Yeah, Kiefer's one of those guys. Like, there's a lot of these younger guys, and David Ford fits into this category as well. I'm trying to think of a couple of other young guns who are really great with the ball striking, but have some issues with the putter. And that's what Johnny Kiefer's displayed so far. But again, I think the talent is there. And if the putter can come around, I mean, those are typically words that don't really end well, if the putter can come around. But I feel like Kiefer's young enough where we just don't know necessarily, at least I don't know necessarily enough about him specifically on Bermuda. I don't have a ton of a sample size on the PGA Tour with his putting, obviously. I just think the talent is there. So 52-1 I like. We already talked about Haotong Li and Ryan Gerard. I will say, I have to say it again, like, if you watch the Early Edge, on this SportsLine YouTube channel, if you're in the SportsLine Discord, you would have gotten Ryan Gerard at 27-1 because I put it in there and I put it on the Early Edge morning show because I knew that number would move. Haotong Li at 50-1, 47 still very acceptable. I've already talked about Doug Gim. I mentioned Kiefer, but I already talked about Doug Gim at 70-1.
See, can I ask you a question real quick? I know DK put out pricing for DFS. I know we usually just talk betting on this show, but it's worth getting into the DFS just for a quick minute here. They put out the pricing before Griffin, Bridgman, and Scott all withdrew. You've got 3 of the top 5 salaried players who are out of the mix. Do you have any idea? I'm not good at trying to figure out ownership percentage and trying to leverage off of that, but what kind of ownership are we looking at for both Gerard and Lowry this week? Because quite honestly, you put both of them in a lineup, it's very easy to still fill out the other 4 spots.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be really popular. I think, I'm just guessing because I haven't looked, but I think like 25 to 30% for both of those guys is very much in play because pricing standpoint, it's super soft. I think if to the extent people pivot, and I'm going off the top of my head here, instead of putting those two together, they might put one of those with like Nikolai Højgaard or somebody like Erasmus, for example. It'll be interesting because the top will be, I think this is a good week to maybe grab a couple of those guys at the top if you want, but make sure you're not playing chalk in that 7K range or 8K range. That's where, if you're going to play the chalk at the top, make sure you get different down low so that you're not playing a 1v1 or a 2v2.
I agree.
See, I'm working on my parlays to play this chalk at the top. I'm trying to convince myself that Nikolai Højgaard is going to win this event. I hate the number, the plus 2150, but I'm parlaying with 3 road college basketball teams tonight on the money line. What could go wrong with that?
What could go wrong?
Hokies?
Yeah. They are not one of them. No. I tried tennis earlier today. It didn't go so well. We're going to give this a shot.
Florida with a win. You see that?
I don't know about who. Yeah, I did see that in Delray Beach. Yeah.
Sebastian.
Okay. So, Sebastian Corda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would not have bet him. Nonetheless, Højgaard is on an absolute heater this season. T3 in Phoenix, or in Scottsdale, T4 in Dubai, T22 at the Farmers. Leads this field in ball striking over the last 9 months. It was T18 here last year, gained more than 3 strokes off the tee and putting. All I needed to see against this weak field. I love it. You guys have talked about Hao Tong Lee, not much more to add there. How about Mac Meisner at 50 to 1? So the last 2 winners here emceed the year before. So let's try for a third. I mean, normally I love to play course history. That has gone out the window here, so missed cuts do not show me anything. Meisner's course history stinks, but his ball striking has been pretty good of late, and he gained 6 putting at TPC Scottsdale in a wide open field. I don't love the number at 50 to 1, but when you parlay him and get him at close to 200 to 1, so much better. So that's watch the early edge for some picks today. Check out sportsline.com, get some picks, and you can parlay that. All right, Patrick, I know you got to go soon. We got to get your long shot pick in here because it is so good. I can't like it enough.
I legitimately don't know how this loses, except if one of them does not win the tournament. But Ryan Gerard and Patrick Reed both to win. I think Reed's like a hair under 11 to 1 at this point. Gerard obviously hovering under 20 to 1 as well. When I got it, it was 225 to 1, which, I mean, as we talked about earlier in the show, if you missed out on this cash out opportunity,
here's the way to do it.
This is another opportunity for you to do it.
Wishing you the best of luck tonight with your interviews at 11 p.m. Say hi.
Thank you.
Your boy Xander. Yes.
One and done is Nikolai Højgaard.
We'll talk about that in the next. Thank you, Patrick. Take care.
See you, Patrick.
See ya. You're up next. Hodges, Ford. Talk about it all.
So I think this number was, first of all, the without market. Like, it's kind of funny that I'm playing it only in this context. And the reason I'm doing it, I think they're only offering it over at DK. It's without the Højgaards, Ryan Gerard, and somebody else it's down here. Ryan Gerard, the Højgaards, and of course Shane Lowry. I'm playing that market with Lee Hodges and David Ford because I still love these numbers, like 90 to 1 and 100 to 1. I'm happy to throw out a couple of guys that I absolutely think can win, that are favored to win, I should say. I've already talked about Hodges. He's proven to be very good here. He's shown me enough on the West Coast swing for me to think that like he can pop again very soon and on this course. David Ford, we also talked about. He's another one of those guys that's going to have to find the putter, but the ball striking, like some of the initial metrics I looked at, weighted approach with a short sample size, weighted tee to green with a relatively short sample size, ball striking. And again, we don't have a big sample size for Ford, but he's like way at the top, like in all of those. So again, small sample size, but the potential and the upside seems to be there. So again, this is in the without market. The next bet is a parlay at 80 to 1. It's pretty conservative in the sense that it's just top 30, top 40. You can mess with this however you want. Take a couple of guys out, move a couple of guys from the top 30 to the top 20 or top 10, however you want to play it. I'm playing it at 80 to 1 with Marty Dow, Daniel Brown, Doug Gim in the top 40 market, and Hao Tong Lee, Max McGreevy, and Ryan Gerard in the top 30 market. Again, those 6 together, 80 to 1. Beautiful,
Sia. That is outstanding. Now, I would say that's the best parlay on the show, but Sobel's got a banger for us.
Jeez.
I mean, I don't make me say names here, Sobel. Go ahead and read your own parlays.
Okay, so I'll start with the outright parlay, and I know a lot of people watching the show are going to be like, come on, this is stupid. You're never going to hit one of those. And then a lot of people are going to say, hey, this is fun. It's $1. Maybe we take a chance. You know what? You're both right, because we're never going to hit it, and it is fun. Okay, I'm going to keep doing it. It seemed like a lot of people were into it last week. Last week we had Padri Ananarukarn and Casey Jarvis both up there on leaderboards after the first round. We had a Thursday morning sweat going before they even teed off at Riviera, and guys were tweeting at me on social, and we're having some fun with it. So yeah, are we going to hit a 12,000 to 1? Probably not, but if you don't tail it, you're definitely not going to hit it. So there you go. Alex Smalley, Jaden Shaper, who's been fantastic, going back to his roots in South Africa this week, and his putter is as good as anybody on that tour. And Chizzy EY, who's been really good lately on the LPGA, taking the three of them together at odds of 12,420.5 to 1.
That's 12,000 to 1. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, definitely hittable for sure.
And then I'll back off it a little bit with my top 10 parlay that makes a whole lot more sense. Lowry finishes top 10 or top 11 here every year. Henny Duplessis, a year ago, he was barely even playing golf. Now he's playing some really, really good golf. He's a guy that's absolutely got some momentum playing in South Africa this week. And then Hyo-Joo Kim's been great. She was third last week on the LPGA, I believe 6th or 7th at the HSBC event last year. So she's got that nice intersection of form and history. I like her for a top 10.
We really do need to have buckets on for a spelling contest at some point because some of these names that Sobel throws out every week are see, there's no way he's getting Duplessis. Come on.
He probably would somehow. I will say Bucket's 2 for 2 on the early edge this morning. And you know what? Want to hear something really cool? So when the show is over, you know how like there's like a little delay where you're seeing like the early wedge screen or sports like a SportsLine screen, but like you're still live. You like the show hasn't officially ended. He whispered a play. We're going to start doing this at the end of the early edge every Monday through Friday at 10. Everybody. He whispered a play when we had that screen when the show was like essentially over but still live, and that whispered play hit as well. So he went 2 for 2 plus another play that he gave out, let everybody could hear if they were still listening to the show. Anyway, shout out to Buckets.
By the way, if I could, EC, this one's just for you. This is going back to last fall. These are the last 9-10 starts for Henny Duplessis. First, fourth, second, 64th, 25th, 19th, 16th, 15th, 3rd.
He's 5th on the odds board for this tournament in South Africa. Mind you, Brandon Gray. So is Brandon? I know he's from South Africa, but is he playing well? Because he's 4th on the odds board. I never thought I would have seen that.
He plays live, so how do you tell?
We don't know.
But
is he even winning on live? Like, is he?
No, 3 straight top 10s. 3 straight top 10s. 2 on live.
I don't know what that tells me.
So my parlay here, top 10 parlay, Shane Lowry and Nikolai Højgaard on the PGA Tour, and then on the DP World Tour, Nikolai, Brandon Grace, Dean Burmester. So
Brandon Grace, by the way, has been really good lately. I'm looking at the numbers now. Holy cow. I had absolutely no idea.
And in the last 5 of this event,
top 10s.
Wow, 6? I only see, wow, that's crazy. So in the last 5 that he's finished the tournament here in South Africa, I know they rotate courses. He's been in the top 7. Mean Dean, also South African, in the last 4 years, a 4th, a 5th, and a 1st. So it's a different course. They haven't played this course since 1999. But we're going to take a shot. Shane Lowry, Nikolai Højgaard, Brandon Grace, Dean Burmester, plus 78.64 for a top 10 parlay, all with ties. So, hey, let's give it a shot. All right, Josh, come join us for some OAD. I believe you and Sia had Rory McIlroy last week, so this is going to be an ugly screen for my dating profile. Let's see what we got. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh Sobel.
Josh in the lead.
Josh, go ahead. Tell. Go ahead.
Tell what, my pick this week?
Yeah, no, just give us your thoughts. I mean, you're kicking our butts here. Sobel and I have problems here. But I'm going to back it. The next 2 weeks, I'll get back on track. And the Scotty Scheffler bullet will be used probably at the Players. I'm just
it's nice to be a couple weeks in and feel like you didn't completely swing and miss with a big bullet yet. I mean, last year I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, had Scotty at Riv, which was the only tournament that he finished outside of the top, 8 the entire. It was like T27, and at that point, it's like, I mean, what are you gonna do? So
hey, got to give some credit to Jen, T4 right now on this list. Jen, congrats! That is awesome.
She doesn't even follow golf. She only follows golf now because of the one and done. She entered the Splash Sports one and done. And this is as far as I know. Jen is all over the SportsLine Discord, and she's incredibly sharp, whether it's football, basketball, or really anything else. So it's always good to see that. And sorry to interrupt, but like the chat is awesome. Like I see Chris in here. I see the other Chris Kish. Farzad is in here. So many in here. Part of the show. Make sure you join us every Tuesday. I see you, Rick Funcannon, plenty of others. Mitchell Smith, the parlay god. Anyway, EC, back to you. Sorry.
No, the chat's been awesome. All right, let's see what we got this week. Josh, you're up top. Started off T55. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty high up the list right now, and I can get one of the favorites in the field when I will definitely not be playing him at the biggest events of the season. So that doesn't need to be much harder than that. So I've got Ryan Gerard this week.
Sia, anything to add?
Well, I'm surprised you don't have Ryan Gerard, because when I put the tweet out on Sunday night that I'm betting Ryan Gerard at 27-1 and Hao Tong Lee at 50, somebody reminded me that you're the one that liked Ryan Gerard last week and said he was going to win this tournament. So I don't know why you're not using him. Anyway, I'm happy to be aligned with Josh. I think he had the right pick last week. I'm still kind of surprised Rory didn't win. I'm pretty upset about it, especially considering that it was Bridgman, my guy, who won. With all that said, I came into this tournament with the same conviction last tournament with Rory, this tournament with Ryan Gerard. So I'm happy to stick with it.
And see, I talked about Ryan Gerard and Jake Knapp, who I really like. Knapp withdrew, which is a bummer because he would have been a no doubt shoe-in play and would have probably won after what he did here last year, shooting 59 in the first round. Taking Nikolai Højgaard, so is Patrick. We're going to get Rise back up. And Sobel, I think this is a sneaky, awesome choice in Alex Smalley.
You're not in OAD supposed to be going after leverage plays like 3 or 4 weeks into it. You're supposed to just kind of stay the course. I'm already trying to go for the 3% play that nobody has and hope all your guys miss the cut on Friday afternoon. So I'm going with Smalley.
Josh, any thoughts on this event? I mean, it's weak. Who do you like to, outside of Ryan Gerard, any other golfers that you like that we should kind of focus on betting on that maybe we haven't talked about?
It's a lot of the usual suspects that happen to be in this event that I am excited to watch play. We're still in novelty area with Brooks, so I'm excited to watch him play again. I wouldn't be surprised if people are a little bit. So I think a lot of people this week looked at how bad Michael Thorbjornsen played at Pebble and kind of stepped away from him a little bit. But that's I think a weird golf course at Pebble for what he does well. And there's a world in which this week, like if he can roll the rock a little bit on Bermuda, that he's going to hit a lot of approach shots from 150 to 175 yards. And if he has a good driving week, I wouldn't be surprised if he contends. But yeah, I don't know. I understand that the field isn't very good. I'm just not totally sure. Well, if this was just called a Corn Ferry Tour event or very clearly a step down, like officially from the other 4 tournaments in this 5-week stretch, I think we wouldn't talk about that quite as much. When you have the stretch that we have over these 5 weeks, every once in a while you're going to have kind of a down week. It is what it is.
Real quick on Thorbjornsen, because Sobel asked the DFS question. If you started your lineup and you just decided to skip the Højgaards, Ryan Gerard, and Shane Lowry, I don't really think there's a big problem with that, and you'll be gaining a ton of leverage because everybody's going to start with 1 or 2 of those because they can, right? The pricing is so soft. So if you were to start Keith Mitchell, which I'm not necessarily recommending, I'm just talking about different lineup constructions, Keith Mitchell, Michael Thorbjornsen, and you just stayed super balanced. Again, a lot of people are going to do the balance thing, but they're not going to do the balance thing without Shane Lowry, Ryan Gerard, Rasmus, and Nikolai. Again, you could still take one of those 4. But Thorbjornsen, because of his price mostly, and because of what Josh was talking about last week, he's just 1 rung below those guys. So he's not going to get quite as much attention from an ownership standpoint.
I will give you guys a bold prediction to end the show. We will hit something big on this show this week. I'm calling. I don't know if Sobel's going to hit another bomb from the DP World Tour with something in there. If Patrick's going to hit Cam Davis at 250, no, he's not going to hit that. Sia going to hit Keith Mitchell, first round leader at 41-1. I like that. We're going to hit a number on the show. Guys, as always, it's so much fun. You guys in the chat, awesome.
Yeah.
I want to give something out. Crispy Scott in the chat. Anything for B-ball tonight for a fellow Wildcat? I'm staying away. Arizona has injury problems. They will beat Baylor, but I do not like anything in that game. I will stay away from that game. Sia, you're going to have to pick my Wildcats in March, just like we're going to have to pick Scotty Scheffler at the Masters. There's your parlay.
Solved.
Arizona, Final Four, Scotty Scheffler to win the Masters, 10-1, something like that. Maybe 8-1, something like that. There you go. Producer Josh, you do a great job as always. Thank you so much for all the great work, especially that purple on the graphic for Sobel on the finishing positions. That was A+. For Patrick McDonald, Jason Sobel, and Sia Nejad, I'm Eric Cohen. And as I always like to say, let's hit it big. Good luck.